Welcome to Mind Games, episode 50. I know it's been a long delay since the last episode. I actually recorded this episode 50 last week with the launch of my new mindgames.gg community platform, but I finagled it until I wasn't actually recording anything, so I don't have any recording of that show. So I'm going to be doing it again with a new Twitch audience. By the way, we're streaming the show live on Twitch, Twitch TV, and twitch.tv/mindgamesweldon. And Periscope. You can follow me on Twitter. Make sure to get into the Periscope audience, and I'll hang out with you guys a little bit later. And today we have 3 great questions and announcements about the brand, Mind Games, and about myself. Nothing I can really talk about yet till next season, but some really exciting stuff has been happening at Mind Games and at esportcoaching.net. So, without further ado, let's get into the show.
Patrick asks, how do I change my teammates' self-deprecating, apologetic, low-confidence attitude?
Okay, so basically Patrick has a teammate who's just apologizing and saying sorry for every single mistake that he makes. So first of all, Patrick, thanks for the question. I think that a lot of people suffer from having these kind of teammates. And I don't mean suffer as in like, oh, woe to be you. I mean suffer as in like they have this problem. So I think a lot of people have teammates like this. And the important thing to understand is that risk is always punished, essentially, in society. Like when you take a risk, you expect that the chance that you're going to fail is going to lead to some sort of repercussion. This is why not everybody is an entrepreneur. This is why some people have jobs, because the risk is non-tolerant. So if you want this person to he's literally, or she is literally not taking risk enough to even make mistakes without saying anything. So you need to create a safer space for that person. And that unfortunately doesn't come by attacking their habits. Like, every single time that they emit some sort of communication, what you're doing is you're attacking the communication. You're saying like, oh, don't apologize. Or they're like, oh, I'm sorry about that mistake. And you're saying, don't worry about the mistake. Or so that they're doing something like being unaggressive or emitting some sort of behavior, and in response, you're asking them not to do it. So that's not the best way to build culture. The best way to build a culture is to preempt that moment, is to jump ahead of it and say like, hey, we're expecting this game in bot lane that you're going to be like camped a lot, and you're going to really like, we want you to be super aggressive and like really push yourself. And if you die like 9-10 times, like that's kind of what we're hoping for. So if you don't die 9 or 10 times trying to kill them, we're going to be disappointed. We're going to be sad. Like, let it rip. Just go for it. And when you start creating this, by the way, Con961, I play League of Legends, although I haven't really played League of Legends since I started coaching League of Legends. So right now I play nothing. But yeah, I play League of Legends, CS 1.6. and World of Warcraft, I think, in the last 10 years, mostly. Okay, so preempt the situation. You know this person is risk-averse, so what you want to do is you want to create a culture where the person is rewarded for letting it rip. That you're actually, when they make an error, before they even apologize for it, you're like, yes, good aggression there. And you have to make sure that you catch the aggressive moments, Patrick, when they are not punished. So when this person is like aggressive or puts themselves out there, takes a risk, and succeeds, like that's when you really want to get in on it. You want to get in on the positive reinforcement and say, yeah, that was awesome, so that they want to do that more often. So they want to feel that more often. So that's my advice to you, is that you don't even worry about trying to correct the behavior post-risk and post-communication when they're trying to make their emotions felt. What you want to do is preempt the feeling of those emotions, and you want to communicate to them that they're totally acceptable. Like, you're going to feel uncomfortable when you make a risk and when you make a mistake, but that like you want to reward that moment by setting up the expectation of reward and then rewarding them when it happens. So yeah, thank you for that question.
Johnny asks, is overmotivation bad? I heard a sports psychologist talking about rally drivers being dangerous when overmotivated.
Okay, Johnny, really interesting question. I think it's fascinating that this person used the word motivation to describe that. Overmotivation isn't bad. Overmotivation without well-being is bad. So I want you to imagine a circle, okay? And imagine down here in the bottom of the circle reside all normal people. So not elite performers. People who perform normally. They have well-balanced lives. They spend an average amount of time working, recreating, having fun, enjoying their life, being parents, hobbying, etc. Okay? These people have like a standard amount of motivation, and they might even be, entrepreneurs for lifestyle businesses or whatever. Then you go up the sides of the circle, and you have people who are more and more and more and more motivated to do imbalanced things. And at the very top, you have maximum imbalance. You have elite performers. You have people who are essentially so overloaded on one single activity that they become one of the best in the world at it. And there's two sides of this equation. Right at the top of the circle, on the one side, you have crazy people, and on the other side, you have Olympians, or like elite athletes, okay? So there's a very fine line between the kind of imbalance that leads to becoming a master at a craft and the kind of imbalance that leads to like having a really crappy life. And all those people who basically like failed at elite sport but still put in the time for it are kind of looked at as like not very well balanced people. You can think of all the actors and actresses like in New York right now that are just trying to make it, and they're like 15 years in, and their family's like, hello, dead end, like waitress job person, like when are you ever going to give up that stupid dream and like have a normal life with, like a spouse and kids and a job and all this stuff? And they're like, sorry, I'm all in on this. So overmotivation is only bad when you don't know how to approach it with well-being. There's a very good way to approach this kind of like elite, crazy life that people who specify in a craft do. And there's a bad way to approach it. And when you approach it in the bad way, you do it for the wrong reasons. You can look at a lot of bodybuilders for this reason. Like a lot of bodybuilders actually go into it because they have, some sort of dysmorphia about their appearance. So they're doing it for the wrong reason. They're not doing it to master the art and craft of their body, like Arnold Schwarzenegger was doing. They're doing it to cover up some sort of like inferiority. And so yeah, that's, I think, is what the sports psychologist was talking about when he said overmotivation was bad. So good question. Thanks.
Sandre asks, I have a friend who always picks Zed or Yasuo mid in any matchup. How can I tell him other picks exist in game?
Sandre, I would tackle this from two perspectives. You can either try to change behavior in your friend, or you can try to change how you deal with it. And you can't really control the first one. Like you can just basically communicate to him or her that like, hey, like it makes me sad when you just play the same characters and suck at them over and over again. But I don't really think that should matter all that much. I don't think that's a big deal. I don't think it matters what matchup you pick in the mid lane, especially like down in silver, or even in challenger. Like it doesn't really matter unless your goal is to like somehow optimize for winning this micro percentage chance in some like low game. I think what's more important is that this person is pursuing mastery or pursuing his Zed and Yasuo. I mean, this is what he enjoys and this is what he's doing. So the real issue lies with your ability to enjoy him enjoying himself. And so I would just start to think of it in terms of like optimization. Like I actually think assassins are a really great way to train. I think assassins require this very fine line of performance where you can't go in too early, you can't go in too late, or you don't do anything. You are easily punished when you fall behind, when you're snowballing. You're really far ahead, but you have to know who to kill in a team fight if the other team's actually catching up. So it improves your decision making, it improves your roaming, it improves your twitch reaction speed, it improves your everything. So I think actually assassins are some of the best characters you can pick for training yourself in decision making in League of Legends in particular, and in Dota actually. So I think this guy's got a really good fundamental like thing going on here. He's just playing assassins and he's just going to keep playing that till he's better at the game. So I would recognize that he's like improving, or that he's trying to, or that the possibility is there, and that even if he picked different champions, like he might not even be any better than them, even if they're a counter to whatever mid lane thing is going on. I've just played Talon all the way up through Plat, like from silver to Plat, up into Diamond. So like you don't need to do any sort of like matchups or anything for that, for mid lane, ever really. It's too dependent on the skill of the people that are in the lane, and it's never so close that the matchup actually matters, in my opinion. But anyway, back to you. So what you need to do is find a way to enjoy the game, even if it's going to be lost. So I would look at your like goals with the game and find ways to, in a game that looks like it's going to be lost, to find things to still gain or to grow or to improve on. So you can set like trollish kind of goals, like I'm going to, no matter what, kill their AD carry, and that can just be like your goal in the team fight. Or I'm going to, no matter what, like not die in the next 3 team fights. Or I'm going to, no matter what, like have the dragon timer and type it in chat. I'm going to, no matter what, like sweep the jungle for wards and find out where their common warding spots are and just get good at that. So there's all sorts of things that you can do in a game that you can make into like an improvement goal, even if you're going to lose it, that can really improve your enjoyment of the moment and help you play with people who are losing the game for you, that are your friends, which is something that I struggled with a lot until I started just like playing the games for my own improvement and also playing for joy instead of just for winning. Okay, thank you for the questions today. Now on to the announcements. When I recorded this last week and it didn't record, I wanted to let everybody know that I've officially launched Mind Games GG, which is, it used to be my blog. Before that, it was like esportpsychology.com or something, esportpsych.com, I think. And now it is my community. So over the last year, I've been trying to figure out how to bring what I do with the professionals down onto an accessible level for everybody. And so I've had the amazing luck over the last year of working with over 75 professional athletes and over 20 coaches in League of Legends and CSGO. And it's been really, really fun and really enjoyable. But I really like community. I really like the idea of like trying to get this out into the general public. This is one of the reasons I did sports psychology. It wasn't for the elite athletes necessarily. It was for the benefit of my own life as a normal person. And I have benefited greatly from applying these principles to my fatherhood, to my esport, to everything. And so what I've designed essentially is, yes, it's for esports, Riker. Sorry if I said that incorrectly. What I've designed is a community for, there's a subset of gamers, essentially, who are esporters, I like to say, in that like we aren't really satisfied with playing for fun. We play for competition. We play for the value of mastery, of pursuing a craft, of becoming really good at something. I remember when I was, it must have been like in my early teens, maybe 10 or 11. And I found out my brother was better than me, my younger brother, at Final Fantasy. And so I just stopped playing it and I started watching him, which was like an early form of like what I do on Twitch now, watching people who are better than me and then striving to, master it to my own extent. So this community, mindgames.gg, is for esporters, people who really pursue the competitive side of the game to express values that they identify with and to pursue mastery in esport in order to better their own life, in order to better their mentality and their competitive integrity. So I'm launching it officially this week, and we do essentially weekly masterminds on the weekends. And sorry, I'm getting Periscope chats here, and they fade away so fast I can't really see what's going on, but I'll check them out in a minute. We do masterminds every weekend. We do hot seats. We have a private member forum, and in there we're just trying to grow and excel as best as we can. And I'm bringing all of the stuff that I learned from the pro scene down into what we're doing there. So yeah, come join us if you want. Just check it out on mindgames.gg, and I'll see you in the next show.